15, Stranded. The vial of fairy dust was gone. With a strangled cry, Ben fell to his knees and reached into the crevice, his hands frantically searching the cold, dank air that lay below the surface. Then he lay on his belly, reaching farther, hoping the vial might have landed on a shelf, or that the crevice wasn't as deep as it looked. "You find it?" Pearl asked, crouching beside him. "No," Ben said with a moan. "Metalmouth, can you help us?" Metalmouth dropped his tennis ball and bounded over. "Let me try." He also lay on his belly. Then he stretched out his arm, just as he'd done through the kitchen window to get Grandpa Abe's toaster. "Can't find it," he reported. "Drat," Pearl said. She sat on the black satchel. "That's too bad. I dropped my house key down the drain, but we got a new key at the hardware store." Panic started in Ben's toes and rose up to his throat. "What are we going to do?" he cried. "Don't worry," Pearl said. "The goat lady knows we're here. She'll tell Dr. Wu, and then Dr. Wu will come and get us." She looked at Metalmouth. "Isn't that right?" The dragon sat up and scratched behind his ear. "Maybe, but Violet only works the day shift. If Dr. Wu gets back late, she won't know we're here until tomorrow morning." Tomorrow? Ben imagined his grandfather waiting outside the hospital gate at 3 o'clock, wondering what had become of his grandson. He wiped sweat from his brow. There was no one to blame but himself. If he'd kept a tight grip on the vial, they wouldn't be in this predicament. Could they survive the night without water? Without blankets or shelter? And would his grandfather remember to feed Snooze? Pearl checked the rain dragon's status. "Her skin feels colder," she said with alarm. "We can't sit here and worry about ourselves. We have a life to save." She was right. Ben had made a terrible mistake, but there was still a job to be done. There was only one rain dragon in the universe, and she needed their help. As they followed the dragon's body, Ben and Pearl tried to stay in Metalmouth's shadow. He didn't seem bothered by the temperature. Ben's mouth turned dry. When they arrived at the dragon's hind leg, they climbed over it. As they continued their journey alongside the dragon's midsection, Ben's throat became so parched it felt like it was made of sandpaper. He tried not to imagine the cans of cream soda in his grandfather's refrigerator. "I'm so thirsty." He opened the satchel, hoping to find water, but only found bottles labeled Blister Liquefier, Wu's Wound Glue, and Tail and Tentacle Detangler. "I'm thirsty too, but I'm not drinking any of this stuff," Pearl said, as she picked up a vial labeled Syrup of Serpent Spit. "Gross." Metalmouth scratched under his chin. "How long can humans go without water?" "Not long," Ben said, "especially because we're sweating so much." "Then why don't you just stop sweating?" "We can't," Pearl said grumpily. "It's how our bodies keep cool." "Human bodies make no sense," Metalmouth said. "You have no scales to protect you, and those patches of fur on your heads make you look super weird." Ben guessed it was noon because the sun hung directly overhead. But maybe the sun had different rules in the imaginary world. Sweat gathered between his toes. His socks were going to reek. "You know what I'd like," Pearl said. "I'd like an ice-cold vanilla milkshake. Or a root beer with extra ice, or—" "That's not helping," Ben grumbled. Would they die of thirst before Dr. Wu came to rescue them? The rain dragon's midsection was much shorter than her tail, so it wasn't long before they arrived at her front leg. They were about to climb over it when Metalmouth sniffed the air. "I smell metal." "Metal?" Ben looked around. "I don't see anything made of metal. Are you sure?" "Of course I'm sure." He thumped his tail. "Where is it, huh? I want it." "Hey, guys!" Pearl had walked alongside the leg and disappeared around the dragon's bent elbow. "You'd better come and see this." Metalmouth bounded forward, Ben at his heels. They both skidded to a stop next to Pearl. Ben's mouth fell open in astonishment. The rain dragon's paw was caught in a trap.